If I throw my kitchen waste in the garbage, it's gonna decompose anyways. So what's the harm in that?
I haven't composted before. How do I get started?
Wouldn't the compost bin smell?
I don't have a yard. Can I still compost?
Hi,
We are Ishita
and Soumya,
and this is Ecological Dilemma.
Today we're gonna address all of these questions and also walk you through our compost setup.
You can throw this banana peel in trash can.
Or you could compost it.
A garbage truck will have to take this all the way to landfill.
But the composting can happen right here at home.
The decomposition process in landfill produces harmful greenhouse gases like methane and nitrous oxide.
Composting happens in the presence of adequate oxygen and moisture, which reduces the greenhouse gas emissions, especially methane.
Landfill pollutes the soil and groundwater.
Whereas composting improves soil health and increases water retention.
Landfills stink.
If composting is done right, it shouldn't.
Although there are a couple of advantages, it is convenient and doesn't cost anything extra.
Whereas for composting, it does require a little bit of an ongoing effort and an initial investment of about $100.
So we see composting is much more beneficial than sending it to landfill.
So let's talk about the things that we need to start composting.
First thing you will need is a compost bin. There are a lot of options to pick from based on the available area and the amount of organic waste you will generate. We went with the standard compost bin. We have placed the link to our composter in the description below.
And that brings us to our second point, which is worms. Worms help speed up the decomposition process, and you will need to manually introduce them into the system if you have a completely enclosed bin.
Depending on the kind of compost bin you have, you might need a shovel or pitchfork to turn the compost around every few weeks.
Let's talk about what to compost. All compostable materials are either carbon or nitrogen, and a healthy compost pile maintains a ratio of 2:1 for carbon is to nitrogen.
Carbon-rich matter includes everything brown, which is cardboard, newspaper, wood chips, branches, stems, dried leaves, etc.
Nitrogen-rich matter includes everything green. That means kitchen waste like coffee grounds or tea leaves or vegetable wastes or even grass clippings. But keep in mind that dairy or meat products cannot be composted.
And again, it's important that we put twice as much carbon than nitrogen. So whenever in doubt, just add some more carbon to the pile.
So now that we have our basics clear, let's go set up our compost bin.
So now that the compost bin is fully assembled, we brought it outside and placed it here where it gets a little bit of sun, and it's right next to the water source to maintain the moisture levels.
Alright, so let's start composting. We have our browns collected over here. We collect our compostable or greens from the kitchen in a compostable liner. And as you can see, it's not necessarily leaky or anything of that sort either. So we're pretty happy with that for now. First step is to fill in with a little bit of brown. So let's spread it out. And if you remember, we said the browns are twigs and dried out grass and hay and leaves and such. We have a couple inches of brown or carbon in there already. So now let's get our kitchen waste in there. So we can, if we really want to, we can really throw this in there, but to be able to distribute things properly, we'll be chopping this up and then putting this back in. But for now, as you can see, we have all kinds of kitchen waste, paper and cardboard and things like that in there as well. And I'm just gonna distribute this a little bit and then cover it up again with another layer of browns. If you guys remember, we talked about the ratio of 2:1 for brownish to green, and that's what we're trying to achieve over here. We seem to have covered all of this up pretty well now. And the next step is to add a little bit of moisture in there. I have a garden hose over here. I'm just gonna spray it a little bit with water. Maintaining the level of moisture is really important. So for example, if it gets too dry, we gotta add a little more water. If it's too wet, it's gonna start smelling. So we wanna add a little more carbon in there. So as you can see, there's still quite a bit of room left in our compost bin, and we'll keep adding kitchen waste and yard waste in the upcoming weeks. Every week or so with a shovel, we'll turn things around to make sure there's enough air flowing through the system to create ideal environments for composting. And we'll share our learnings and journey with you in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned.